I'm telling you, I'm gonna get some little scraps of fabric and hang it down. It's gonna be my Steven Tyler microphone.
I like it.
Greetings and
Just the
welcome
beats.
to Old Drunken Discography, where old friends and fans come together to BS, argue, occasionally agree, and discuss a musical artist. I'm Jason. With me is Tim
That's me, as
and
always.
Bill.
Oh, eye for an eye leaves everyone blind.
That was a nice, and gives you animosity. And we're talking COC. If you haven't watched the previous videos, check out the playlist link down below. Currently, we are talking about the self-titled from 2012. This is our current rankings. We are all over the place. Oh, we all still have the same number one, though, so that's good.
I mean, we're all over the place to an extent. It's interesting how many of us, where two of us agree on an album, but then the other one, it's usually like a curveball in their third spot.
I mean, that's always how it works.
Yep.
That is how it works.
We'll see how it plays out with the self-titled.
So, yeah, I mean, as
Yeah.
2012, it's been 7 years. So, surprise, surprise, after the In the Arms of God, guess who broke up again? But somehow, in the downtime, Reed Mullen got back into the picture. He was touring with Carl Agile as COC Blind, and they were just doing blind material for a little while, and that really showed that Reed was capable of playing the drums again. And so that kind of led to him getting in touch with Mike and Woody, and they started jamming. People got word of it, and so they went out and hit the road as the Animosity reunion. Pepper, of course, is busy with Down during these years. They had just put out Down 3, which is which is Phil and Rex's response to Dimebag's murder. Amazing album. Wait for that meat grinder. And yeah, they just kind of get together. They start jamming old songs. They start writing new songs. I did get to see the tour before the album came out, where I mentioned earlier they opened with Bottom Feeder, but then it was nothing but Animosity and songs off this that we hadn't heard yet. And then the encore was Technocracy, if anybody's wondering. Another fun fact about that show was the opening act was a band called Righteous Fool, which features Mike Dean and Reed Mullen. Nobody was there for the opening act, so I got to walk right up front and just stand right in front of them and watch them jam the Righteous Fool stuff. This album comes out a little later. It is finally out. This was the single I got at the show. COC also gave away a 7-inch single at the show, The Year Tomorrow, Parts 1 and 2. That'll, of course, come up on the album. That was a fun show. Getting to this album, though. I hashtag it. I love this album.
I fucking love this record.
It's a hard one for me to rank, and we'll get there when we get there. So I'll just go through the songs. I think Psychic Vampire is a really good mix of both Deliverance era vibes and Animosity vibes. River of Stone, top song contender. Leeches, you got Reed singing that one. It's pretty jamming. Woody shows up with a little instrumental break before Your Tomorrow. I do like this version of Your Tomorrow better than the single, but the single's fun because you can really tell that, like, especially on part 2, that's probably the first time they played it. The Doom is super heavy, just like the name implies. It's great. The Money Changers, super punky. Weaving Spiders and What You Despise are both just jams. Rat City, fun little punk rock song. I think Time of Trials might be my favorite closer. I don't know if I've said that already. And then if you got the album like I did, on the release day, came with a bonus 7-inch with 2 extra songs. Canyon Man in the same way. If you can find them, if you like the album, I highly recommend these songs because Canyon Man's a top song contender for sure. Um, Updated Skull, kind of like throwing it back to Eye for an Eye, but we're in a different century. We got a different outlook. We've been nominated for a Grammy. I don't know. I think this album is like the perfect encapsulation of the whole career. You got a little bit of every flavor they ever do here. Um, and this album was recorded at Dave Grohl's studio, 606, on the Nevermind Neve. So it sounds fantastic. Yeah. Hashtag it. I fucking love this record. Not a bad song on here.
Yeah, I don't know. You told me after, because I had stopped listening to him, and you said that's okay because they're gonna get back to it.
Sure.
But I was thinking they were gonna get back to it, but they didn't really get back to it for me. They got back to, yeah, this is a good like it encompasses everything they've done up to this point. Psychic Vampire, stronger start than the last few records. River of Stone, cool little intro. It's got some riffs going. Bass sounds muddled though. Just nitpicking. Leeches was great. Nice to hear COC kick ass again. Elemento, back to the 3-minute instrumental. This feels more like a return to Blind than anything else. Your Tomorrow music was cool. Ozzy vocals. The Doom, sludgy, Deliverance sounding, not my vibe. But again, that is a part of their past. The Money Changers kicks ass, starts out ripping, slows down in the back half. I liked it. Come Not Here could have been a Soundgarden song. What We Become, this one was good, had some energy, great guitar riffs, or guitar solo. Drums are the shining star on this album for me though. Rat City, hell yeah, this is what I would expect from a band called Corrosion of Conformity. And Time of Trials, best closing track in a while. This was a decent attempt at sounding like Blind Deliverance era COC, but this was mighty far from an Animosity. I'm just not a fan of the slow stoner sludgy rock. Like I didn't get the whole, because you kept saying that they were going back to their punk roots, so I was expecting Animosity. Maybe my expectations were too high, but it is a return to form. It's just not the return to form that I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Or the era of. But you are right. The production, the record sounds great. But I do like the Eye for an Eye original logo better, though.
Sure, it's a classic.
But I like the ideal of them making a new logo for a new era. It's more creative than Blink-182 just adding an arrow on their logo. They got the bat head there. Does that represent Nazi?
Yes, because apparently they just can't help but rip off Ozzy every now.
They love Ozzy every step of the way.
Who doesn't love Ozzy every minute of the day?
Ooh.
That's a fair point. All right, Bill. I gotta go grab a beer, but I'll let you go ahead and get started.
So Jason's gone. I'll say everything I actually think about this record. No. So anyone who's watched this show anywhere up until this point knows I'm very particular about my songs called Vampires. Psychic Vampire, really, it just didn't do it for me compared to a lot of other songs that we've had called Vampires. River of Stone and Leeches, I mean, I called the last album Slow Jazz. Go back and watch that video, and you'll see that. Definitely feel when Jason mentioned here about this being more like sludge and a slower rock, definitely get that vibe through and through. Which
What's that? You're kind of breaking up.
So you mentioned how this album was a little bit more like sludge or slower rock, right? Like,
Well, not the whole album, just a few here and there, like the Doom.
well, no, but like, well, I'm seeing or agreeing with you. Like that's
Oh,
the overall vibe that I got. I mean, yes, it has its moments where it goes a little bit more, up tempo, let's call it, right? But as a whole, something tells me Tim's saying those bonus tracks are what we need to listen to here. Um, it's it feels like it's well, as Tim said, it's a continuation of the last album, but it's also it's if you were to say this would be a compilation album for COC, if I hadn't actually listened to any of COC prior to this,
Sure.
I could absolutely believe it because there is a lot of different sounds you hear. It's like, oh, this one sounds like Blind. Oh, this one sounds a little bit like I. This one sounds like Blind. This one sounds like Deliverance. Like you have those elements come through each of these songs. It has the token instrumental. It has these different elements. So you're like, yep, it'd be a CLC greatest hits album, right? Which it isn't because these are all, you know, songs that COC has not done before. But I could see how someone could say, like, yep, that's what it sounds like. Which, again, as I said before, it's not a knock, it's an observation. Because actually, there's a lot of stuff that I like that came out on this album. I thought, namely like the Money Changers, I felt like this was my highlight actually on this album. Um, the instrumental of Lamento, I I have very I initially didn't think I liked it, but I liked it after third listen through. It wasn't the second one, it was the third listen through that actually started to grow on me a bit. Um, like here's the thing I'll say about this album. More than likely, you will find something you'll like on this album. You might not like the whole album, but you'll find something you'll like.
yeah. I think it is worthy of the name Corrosion of Conformity. Like it is a worthy self-titled album. It is like a accumulation of everything done up to that point, but it's new at the
Yep.
same time.
And also recognizes that when it comes down to it, these three guys, no matter who they're playing with, are the sound.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a couple bands before. It's always interesting when a band puts out a self-titled that isn't their debut album. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
That should say something.
it should be something, and I think for COC in this instance, it does say something because it's a culmination of their sounds from the last several albums. You'll put together like, hey, this is us. These are all new songs, but this is what we sound like over our last several albums.
Yeah, I mean, this comes out 30 years into the career.
Yeah. It could be Def Leppard self-titled, which go watch that video and you'll hear all you want to hear about that one.
Yeah. This is no Def Leppard self-titled.
Yeah, this one I would actually recommend people listen to. But that's just me. Hashtag it. I fucking love this album.
Well, we're supposed to talk about Megalodon as well.
Yeah.
Which is a cool...
Either you guys able to check it out?
No, I didn't listen to this one yet.
So if anybody has a vinyl copy, let me know. I'm definitely looking for one. I have one on CD. This was actually like, you guys remember the Scion series in around this time, 2010, 2012. The Scion Car Company got a bunch of rad bands to put out EPs, and they would just give them away for free on the internet. Like COC did this one, High on Fire did one, the Melvins did one, Fu Manchu did some. like just a bunch of really cool stuff. So this was a free to download EP, and yeah, just more punk rock stuff. Priest Brains is great. The title track is prime COC. Like the whole thing, it's like 10 minutes long, maybe. It's great. Just quick, fast, to the point. And yeah, I have a CD copy. They were sending physical copies. If you like pre-ordered or ordered something through the album, I think it's when I got my Eye for an Eye reissue. But you couldn't choose. You had no idea what was coming. And I got a CD. I would have loved the vinyl. But yeah, if you can find a copy of this, I'm sure it's on YouTube. Very punk rock. It's very reminiscent of the 6 songs with Mike singing, except of course Reed sings a couple of these songs as well. So fits very nicely in between the self-titled and the next one, 9. It's very much in that style, but no doomy stuff, except for the title track, Megalodon. It's kind of Soundgarden-y, I guess. That's a fair comparison, which, go back and watch that episode. That's not a band I hate. So
right, yeah, that's not okay a bad. It's not a knock against them.
Yeah, yeah, fun little EP. If you can find it, give it a listen. You might find a song or two you like. And if you have a vinyl copy, no, no, none of those Scion things are available by streaming, except for the Melvins, because it got reissued by Ipecac recently. So I think all the rights for all of these are up, and people are just kind of sitting on them. Yeah, because is Scion even making cars anymore?
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
So yeah, they had an album series that was pretty popular in the stoner doom community. A lot of cool bands. The Melvins one is one of their finest releases of the decade. The Bulls and the Bees.
That's just
so
weird.
Good. Yeah, it was weird.
A lot of money at the companies is like, let me own a record label. If somebody likes doom, some Melvins hit.
Hey, you know, that was probably the peak decade for it, honestly, as far as popularity.
All right. I believe it's Tim's turn to guess again.
Oh, okay.
Man, I'm just
I think Jason is going to have it below In the Arms of God.
You are correct.
I think Bill's going to have it.
Oh, is that your final answer? No. That's not where I'm going to have it.
No, it wasn't below In the Arms of God. No.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, you're right. Below. Hold up. Let me look at this.
You tell me.
Okay, I have it wrote down. No, I have it above.
You have it above. Okay, but not. Well.
Do I have it above?
Better than Eye for an Eye?
No.
Okay. So there it sits.
There it sits.
Okay.
All right.
Bill, I think, is going to put it above In the Arms of God as well. But not better than Animosity.
Would be incorrect. I have it below In the Arms of God.
Okay. But above Eye for an Eye?
Yes.
Okay. And then what is Tim going to do? Tim's going
to have it number 1.
I think Tim's going to have it at number 2.
And that's the struggle. It's definitely one of those places. And I think to keep the synchronicity, I'll keep it there at number 2.
All right.
again, it's hard for me to judge because, like, if I'm being subjective and I'm only allowed to give a new listener one album, it's probably going to be this one.
That would be a
And
good starting point.
Which would make sense
yeah,
because it's a little bit of everything. It's like, oh, hey, you like this song? Hey, go to this album then, and you're gonna find
sure, right,
this is an album
exactly.
full of that song then.
And I do worry that Wise Blood is only my number one because of nostalgia.
Well, I mean,
I
Jason
liked
and
it. I got
got
no
Wise Blood at
nostalgia.
number one. Like, and I have zero history.
Sure. So let's put this one at number 2. Let's just keep Wise Blood rolling. If you guys are on board with that, I'm on board with that.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, who knows? We got 2 more to go. One might dethrone it, but
we got 9 and no cross, no crown. So stick around. Listen to Down. Hip hip hooray. Ho. Be safe. Make good decisions.
yeah, listen to Down.
From the